another episode of Spartan Spotlight on RebelRunSports.com. I'm John Moore with Rob Giampapa and the star of our show, West Springfield High School football coach, Jason Eldridge.
Well, Coach, let's get into it. You had your final scrimmage against Centerville. Mm-hmm. Tell us how it went.
About as bad as can be expected, okay. I would say. We didn't sustain any major injuries, so that's good. I don't feel like our line of scrimmage was really out of bounds as far as, and that's what we were looking for, a heavy run team like Centerville who likes to get off the ball with their wing T schemes. We weren't really blown off the ball. Our assignments were real bad. So, they kind of had a way with us in the first half. We started pulling people in the second half. Didn't go well. From what I expected, to be fair. And hopefully it's a wake-up call for our kids that this is what our schedule is going to look like. On the road, tough teams, this is what we got to do against the run game. So kids are kind of motivated this week. I'm happy about that. But I'll be honest, I'm really disappointed. So,
when you have your final tune-up before the season opener and it doesn't go the way you want it to, what's the feeling in the locker room?
I think it went two ways. Our kids were a little bummed. I'll be honest. I think a lot of what we went through last week was emotional based. You want to see kids that when they get out on the field and they don't do as well as you think they're going to do, you want to see them respond with a little bit of fire. I didn't see much of that from our guys. And we can make all the excuses you want. It's hot outside, it's a scrimmage, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you don't want the guys to love what they're doing. I mean, we're putting a lot of work into this. It's football. Not everybody gets to do this. You all know what it's like participating in high school sports. It's kind of a privilege. So we kind of got back to that a little bit in the rhetoric between me and the guys. Try to have fun. Try. If things aren't going well, okay. But let's enjoy. You work all year for 10 chances of production, I guess, and display. And if you waste them, then you've wasted your effort in the preparation that's led up to this. So we kind of we want to get back to the basics. Like, let's have fun. Let's get our assignments. Let's communicate. And I think the rest of it will take care of itself. But this is a bit of a wake-up call for us because we're heading into a really tough 10 weeks. So I'm hoping, guys respond. We have to have a really good week of practice. So,
okay. Well, you've played Centerville. You got Robinson coming up. You talked to us last week about how they're similar styles, similar teams.
Yeah.
What were you able to take away from that game that you can go into this one?
Like I said, I didn't. Looking at I'm the defensive line coach for our team. I did not feel like we were blown off the ball. That's not what happened. But in the wing T scheme, you have to have your fits correctly from the second and third level. And by second and third level, I mean the linebackers and the DBs. So we controlled our gaps decently from the first line, the defensive line on up. But then when the guys on the back levels went to go get their assignments, they just missed them, whether they went outside a window or they ducked in instead of going outside, either or. And they have running backs that can read pretty well. And they got guys in space. And, it was, it's 5 yards in a cloud of dust and for them. And they kept the ball for a lot of the first half. We only had 2 real first half offensive possessions, and that's not going to go well for an explosive offense like us. Right. We need to have more opportunities to score. When you do that and you minimize your offensive possessions, now you're putting pressure on your offense to score every time they get the ball, and that's never a good combination. So what we're trying to do is get back to getting off the field after third downs instead of allowing. I mean, we let them get every third and fourth down they had, and we kept them to the third and fourth downs, it seemed like, for most of the game, but we couldn't get off the field. So what we're trying to do is just focus on the assignment-based things that we're going to see by Robinson because we know they love to run the ball when they get in those long and short yardage situations at the end of their sets, like third and fourth downs.
This is a huge game on a lot of different levels.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, just the magnitude of the teams playing, the way the game ended last year.
Yep.
The fact that it's at Robinson on, opening night of football in Burke.
Yes.
Are you enjoying this? Is this something you enjoy? Are you nervous? Are you stressed out? Is it fun?
John, after the year's over, I'll look back and it'll be fun. Right now, not much fun for me right now. I mean, I just came over here from setting my schedules and getting my films all set up and all the things that we have to do leading up to the game, pre-game meals and all that stuff. And there's a lot of legwork that goes into this situation. So can I tell you, am I enjoying this right now? No, I'm not. I'm not really enjoying it that much right now. Do I enjoy my kids? Yes. Do I enjoy the community? Of course I do. Do I love football? Well, duh. I mean, I'm obviously coaching for that reason. But, when you're in the day-to-day operations of it, it's very daunting. And I'm very nervous right now. And I'm not even playing, which is terrible because I want to put the helmet on and run out there too, right? So I think when we get under the lights, here's the thing about me personally. When I get out on the field on a Friday night and the lights are on and the people are in the stands, there isn't much that we can do as adults at this point to further prepare our kids. We are where we're going to be at this moment in time. So what I try to do is just soak in the environment because not everybody gets a chance to be in that position. So I do take advantage of that. I don't even think about Friday until Thursday morning. So it's hard for me to say, wow, this is so awesome and fun. It's more like, oh my God, I have so much work to do right now. So that's how it goes for me week to week.
Well, how much different is week one in that respect compared to week 2, week 3, week 4? Is it the same grind every week for you? Like, is it the same? Is it taxing in the next couple of weeks, or is it just this first week that gets like that?
That's a really good question. There's a lot of build up to the first week because you've been going for a month and you think you've been preparing for 3 to 4 weeks for an opponent, and they're obviously going to spring some new things on us that we've not seen. But at the same time, the weekly schedule leading up to the game is pretty disciplined with regards to the repetition. So the Monday's really the same as far as the install goes. Tuesday, Wednesday are the heavy lifting days for our contact. Thursday is obviously the light walkthrough, and then Friday, and then Saturday you have film and weight room. So those things repeat themselves week to week, right? I think it's a little bigger for us in this first game, like you said, John, because of who we're playing, how it happened last year, what they're looking for, the environment that we're going to be in. I mean, it's a little different when you play other schools and they're not quite as supportive of their football program, or maybe their football program hasn't been as good. Right. With Robinson, that's not the case. I mean, they're going to be, pumped. Their community's going to be ready to go. So it's a little more nerve-wracking for us, for me in particular. But I think week to week, it starts to pick up in pace because you get into, Sunday I'm doing film, and then Monday we're right back at it, and it's bam, bam, bam. And when you're teaching and all this other stuff that's going on, it kind of flies. This has been a little bit of a crawl. So we're getting into the more amped up version of the year. Yeah.
What? How much, kind of going off of that, how much easier does it make it that you don't have school going on right now to get ready for
Very much easier. I have more time to appropriate things. Kids get more rest. The worst day of the season is Tuesday, September 6th. I'm telling you right now. Because the kids have to actually get up and use their brain starting at 7, 8 a.m. And when they get out on the field at 4, they're, dragging like somebody just slugged them out for 10 rounds of a boxing match. And you can't get a lot of energy out of it. But every coach goes through this. And they acclimate themselves. But it's easier for me. I have more time to appropriate just to football. I'm not teaching verb tenses in Spanish class or that kind of thing, right? So I don't have to grade any papers. I don't have to do it. I don't have to worry about other athletics because I'm an assistant athletic director, so I have to worry about our other sports too, but I don't have to do that as much in the preseason. So it's going to get a lot more hectic for me. My days are going to be very long, which is fine. I mean, I'm conditioned for that, so we'll be all right.
Let's talk a little bit more about the game itself. You guys, style-wise, are
about as opposite as it gets. In fact, in Atlantic City. Oh, sorry. Well, we go to a football clinic in Atlantic City every year, and Vossler brought his staff up this year, and we hung out most of the weekend. And I remember him sitting with me one night, and we were up pretty late, of course, Atlantic City, and he looks at me and says, "Jason, every time we throw the ball, a piece of me dies." And I'm like, you must hate watching us. So He said, yeah, pretty much. I hate
When
it.
you play a team like that, does it concern you when you guys are tempo and they're not?
Yeah. Well, it's all about ball control.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, this is what scared me about what happened at Centerville. I mean, they kept the ball for 7-8 minutes, just 5 yards in a cloud of dust, 5 yards in a cloud, all the way up the field, and Pete's on the sideline, kind of twiddling his thumbs, and Daniel too, and we can't have that.
Yeah.
We got to have those guys on the field. So, and then the opposite of that, we want to keep the ball so that they're not plowing our guys with their run game up and down the field as well to keep our defense fresh. So that's the key. If you want to know, I mean, that's the key. Who's going to control the ball and keep their pace to what they do? That's what's going to ultimately decide what's going on. So,
well, in that last scrimmage, how much of your game plan do you show?
None.
Okay.
Nope.
All right.
Nothing. And I can tell you right now, Robinson didn't show anything about what they're going to do on their game plan. I mean, he sat, as an example, he sat man coverage against West Potomac the whole game. He's not playing us man coverage. He's not doing that. So, yeah, you don't show anything on film.
You look at last year's film in the game, I'm sure you could pick out a lot that went right. You won the game. And a lot that went wrong also.
Right.
Do you look at that as kind of a model, or you just kind of...
Absolutely. I mean, we weren't as physically in the best condition as we are now, in my opinion, last year. But you can see what they're going to do against what we scheme in that element. So we had to make some adjustments to that, and we've done that. And so there's going to be a few quirks we're going to, put in there to try to mess up their situation. But the other thing that we really want to look at is how their personnel is going to change from year. I mean, they had this running back, number 27 last year, who was like, he was as big as a lion, it seemed like, right? And
John Lee.
Right, and they've got, that's good memory there. And so that's why he's the best in this business, right? So, but they have this white kid that plays running back who's also a load. And they had them both last year, but, the one kid went out, and he's going to be back healthy this year. So he's not quite as big, but they don't also have quite as many, I don't think, that they bring to the table in their wing T. They're going to have a couple, and what we're going to try to do is put them in long yardage situations where they want to do things that the head coach doesn't want them to do, and that's throw the ball. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, I mean, you've got a big week coming up, but how much do you look at the other teams in your conference this week or next week? How much do you look at that stuff? That's
a really good point. The one thing I've tried to drill into the kids is this is a non-conference game, and it's on the road. Yeah. And one thing as a coach I've always tried to do, basketball and football, is you win your home games, you steal the road games. Okay, you just try to steal a few to put yourself in the best position possible to have a home game in week 11. So if you look at our road games this year, okay, South County, at TC Williams, at Stonebridge, okay,
Easy
at
games.
Annandale, at Robinson. Right. So I mean, you get the drift on this. So we're just going to go out and try to steal a couple. If this isn't one of them, it's not. But we want it to be because you want to get off to a good start, right? So that's kind of the mentality I have with the kids going into it. Don't look at it necessarily as, oh my God, this is Robinson. Look at it as this is an opportunity for us to go steal a road game against a good team that'll provide us a bunch of PowerPoints for our standing. If it doesn't happen the way we want it to happen, let's play well. And we'll move on to the next one. And we got 2 home games after that. We can still make up some ground, including the conference games that we've got. And then we'll try to go to South County and Stonebridge, and we'll try to steal a game. You know what I mean? So, it's the 10-week picture you're looking at, and not life or death Robinson.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't want them to overemphasize this game, but I want us to be mindful that this is the kind of competition we're looking at for the rest of the year.
Well, how much control do you have over your schedule? Because I'm looking at you right now thinking you've got to be nuts for having all these games on there.
You think I said, please, I want to play Stonebridge? Stonebridge, that's us. No, I don't have very much control over it. And they've actually made a new system for it where they take your last 3-year game-winning averages, and that's how they're going to combine the out-of-league schedule. But for us, I put all the Ashburn schools and Loudoun County on the bottom of my list, yet we still grab the best one.
Right.
So that's a scheduler who's doing the region schedule, looking at the way we performed leading up to the schedule they made, saying, well, this was a 9-3 team. They need to have a good schedule so that they don't get the lighter end teams playing the heavier teams in a, mismatch kind of situation. So they put us up against pretty much everybody they could. I mean, the only team I think we're missing, as I said last week, was like Westfield. Essentially. Yeah. So, we got our hands full, and we don't have a lot of kids to go in there with, but they're ready to go, I think, as far as their physical attributes are concerned. We just have to be mentally ready to go.
All right, well, Coach, good luck to you. We're looking forward to
gonna need that.
Having
Thanks.
a good conversation next week.
Yeah. Everybody should tune in, man. It should be exciting.
This week will be more fun for us than it will be for you.
Absolutely.
If we lose, don't come up and interview me.
All right, for Coach Eldridge, Rob G. and Papa, I'm John Moore. Thanks for tuning in to Spartan Spotlight. We'll see you next week.